channel.
You know what time it is, no press fam. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Beatdown, the segment and channel where two worlds collide. I am your host, Class. And as a friendly reminder, if you guys enjoy our content, share, like, or subscribe. And if you guys want to learn about the brief origin stories or the powers, abilities, the feats of these particular characters of the BAF, you can look it down in the description below. Now let's move on. In honor of the recent alien, I think it's called Romulus. Hopefully I said that right. I'll probably put a poster right here so you guys can see it. That just came out. We figured we'd do an episode on this particular species or extraterrestrial. So let's get things going. Let's get with the end game. In this corner, representing the alien franchise themselves, the Xenomorphs. All right. So let's start off with the acid for blood. Always comes in handy, especially against an opponent with very strong defensive battle armor. A few drops of their blood and his armor will begin to crack under the intensity of the acid. I mean, eventually acid is very strong. Like, yes, there's very certain materials that can endure it, but it's only very specific materials. It's not certain metals. Not a lot of metals can hold acid, and especially alien acid. That's even different. You know, it's very unique, so we don't even know how far that could go. Let's see. They are much stronger, as their species demonstrate when facing off against a predator from time to time. Yeah, now if you've seen the Alien vs. Predator franchise, you obviously can tell that the Predators are one of the most fierce warriors out there. So for them to throw down with aliens or Xenomorphs says something, because that shows that the Xenomorphs can go toe-to-toe with some worthy opponents. And obviously the Predators are nothing to scoff at. If you've seen their tech, if you've seen their weaponry, they're pretty impressive. The tail will keep Mando from getting close enough with a lightsaber, and if he used it, the acid again comes in handy. Meaning that yes, he's got it. Yes, they, let's say hypothetically the Xenomorph decides to wrap its tail around Mando. If Mando uses any kind of weapon that might cut through the Xenomorph, again, acid blood's always going to be a very good defense against that. They are clever using the numbers game and cornering their prey. They might be able to overwhelm Mando after some time, which he'll retreat to much more secure locations, and then bam, that's when they really have the drop on him. So yeah, pretty much if you've seen the second one, they were clever enough to get a bunch of Marines in a corner. That's Marines, okay? That's not something to scuff at. You got a bunch of Marines in a corner. All these Xenomorphs got these Marines in a corner, and then afterwards, from the ceiling to the ground, they got him and ambushed him. So it was pretty clever how they did it. They could throw acid on his equipment. Not everything he wears is made of Mando metal material. You know, that special metal that Mando has, which means you lower its selection of options when it comes to weapons. So yeah, they might be able to limit Mando's gun arsenal. You know, like he's got the grappling hook, he might be able to put acid on that. There's a special space gun, they might be able to put acid on that. There's so many ways where the armor is very good, but as far as weaponry, it's not everything is made of that material. Inside closed spaces, they are much more adaptable and can easily use the ceilings and ground floors to their advantages for surprise attacks, as I've already demonstrated or said. Up close, the Xenomorph just has way more of an advantage when you factor in a tail that can toss humans around like a ragdoll, strength and size, which normally plays a huge role in someone having the one-up on you, its defense for acid that will prove to do serious damage during the fight, resulting in this win for the Xenomorphs. Alright, now let's talk about the end game on this end. In this corner, representing the Star Wars franchise, the Mandalorian himself, Mando, aka, hopefully I'm saying this right, Djarin. Hopefully I said that right. Alright, so let's talk about him. Mandalorians have some pretty impressive gears, from jetpacks to grappling hooks. They truly have tons of weapons to rely on, especially in this instance, the flamethrower. Flamethrowers usually can throw some damages to Xenomorphs, depending on the extreme intensity of the heat given what space rocket jets can do to them. So same can be applied with enough heat applied in a general area with enough focus and time to a Xenomorph. That's just a theory. They can trap it in that liquid chamber. You remember in, I believe it was Star Wars Episode 2, or sorry, like the very old school ones, the very beginning of the Star Wars franchise, Han Solo got trapped in some kind of liquid nitrogen chamber or something like that, some kind of liquid. I can't know how to describe it, but he got trapped in it. I do believe that if Mando wanted to, he could probably set a booby trap, because it did show in the fourth one they would be easy to be set in a trap in some essence. He might be able to put him in one of those liquid chambers, planning it perfectly enough, and Mando is clever enough to do that. His jetpack can help with a quick getaway or create distance for more of a range shot than up close. Yeah, I think that the Mando's best friend is going to be distance. Obviously, Xenomorphs have a lot of strength, and they have a lot of extra hands to help them out, and they also have the acid for blood, everything to their favor when it comes to up close. But distance wise, it kind of favors more of the Mandalorian, considering the fact that there's not a lot of attack distance shots that the Xenomorphs are usually familiar with. So Mandos are skilled in snipers, which means that I believe that Djarin's sniper experience might be able to help him take out these Xenomorphs. Let's say it was one Xenomorph or two Xenomorph. Either way, he still has a perfectly clear distance shots, be able to take those aims and then take them out with precision. If he tossed the lightsaber in projection away from safe distance and a clear one shot through and through, cut down in half, he could just end it like that. So let's say it's one Xenomorph. He could use that crazy lightsaber he got, toss it at them, and they could just cut them down the middle as it's being tossed at them. As long as he's far away, the acid blood isn't going to do absolutely anything to Mando. As long as he's not in space, let's say they did this in some kind of planet, he'd be safe. And to be able to take them out without any hesitation. An army of them. And his space gun blaster will take a few of them out as long as he keeps his distance. Yeah, so he has this, I'm going to say that obviously the Star Wars space guns are much more sophisticated than our regular average human-made guns. So we'll just have to keep that in mind when it comes to how impressive their weapons are. Maybe have the acid blood bounce off of each other. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say you shoot one of them and then the acid blood manages to bounce off of one of the aliens and lands on one of the other aliens. It might be able to do some damage to another alien and so on and so forth. I'm not really quite sure if the acid blood affects aliens too much, because we've never seen that in the franchise, but it might. At least maybe that I'm not aware of, or I'm not remembering right now. So that just eliminates them one by one, giving them a little taste of their own medicine. Those creepy crawlers, they depend on easy access to the face in order to impregnate somebody, but Mandos don't take out their helmets ever, so they won't be able to impregnate them. And even shots to the face with their tongue teeth is an obsolete during this circumstances, considering the fact they usually use their tongue as a go-to move to like jam into someone's skull, or they use the creepy crawlers in order to impregnate them. And yeah, Mandalorian's helmets are not going to let them do that. His spaceship will always be a last resort situation, as he can use his own ship guns to blast the Xenomorphs into smithereens if he wanted to. As Djarin has made a reputation for himself as one of the best bounty hunters in the galaxy, I believe he would bring one back cold, and his knowledge of the galaxy might make him familiar based on rumors spread across the galaxy about these creatures, which would make him more prepared for them. And based on his determination to get things done, and his fighting skills complemented by his armor, makes him truly something any Xenomorph should fear, giving Mando his collected bounty on this one. But as always, no press fam, it is not up to me, it is up to you guys. So if you like either one of my arguments, you know what you can do. You can hashtag, I'm going to say alien, I want to say Xenomorph as well, or you can hashtag Mando, or hashtag Djarin, or hashtag the Mandalorian. As always, no press fam, we really appreciate you guys keeping it 600 subs. Peace. And as always, guys, if you guys enjoy our content, you know what you guys can do. You can share, you can like, or you can subscribe to our channel. When you guys subscribe to our channel, you know what you do. You guys are building our empire and allowing us to provide you guys with even much more greater content for you guys to enjoy.